Hello again, everybody. My name is John D. Healy. I do a podcast. It's good to talk. It's always good to talk, and I also have guests on. Got into podcasting because I produced a book for my friend Stoney McGran. That's his life, and that's how it all started. Stoney had a birthday recently, so he's alive and well. My sponsor are Liffey Van Lines, a moving company here in New York. They've been around for 50 years. The Liffey name comes from the River Liffey in Dublin, and I have lots to talk about today with my guest in a few minutes from Dublin. I give a shout out to the Irish Examiner USA newspaper here in New York. They feature lots of articles to do with music and arts and all that. This week, I was very happy to see that they have a full page ad uh, promoting and enticing us to get ready for the Good Friday Agreement. I'll come to that in a moment too, actually. Now, a few weeks back, I had Pádraig Ó on from Mayo, footballer, senior footballer, Dalna Stevenites. He's gone climbing Mount Everest for charities, for people with problems with mental health issues in Mayo and beyond. And I sent him a check already for $8,000 from a fundraising event. Then, like Paddy McCarthy, I was out and about and I bumped into a journalist called Anthony Blair. He's a writer with the New York Post. And lo and behold, I see he has an article called, look at that, Everest Fraud Mounts. So there's scammers in Everest taking advantage of the climbers. So I hope my friend Pádraig Ó gets up there safely on the mountain and gets back. My guest today is Róisín Lonergan from Dublin, and we're going to be talking about the Five Lamps Arts Festival in Dublin. Róisín, good afternoon to you and good morning to me. You're welcome to be on my podcast. Let's talk about the Five Lamps Arts Festival.
Thanks very much for having me, John. It's 19 years on the go. I set the festival up because I was teaching in the North Inner City near the Five Lamps, just beside it actually. And 19 years ago, I felt that access to the arts wasn't for the people that were living in the area, not for all of them. Even though this place, this area, is where Sean Casey is from, is where Brendan Behan is from, is where Luke Kelly of the Dubliners is from. And there's lots and lots of other people who are from this area who are writers and musicians and poets. Paula Meehan, for example, is from the area. So I felt that the local people didn't get a look in, and I thought that as a teacher in the area, it'd be something that I could do. And I set up an arts festival in the area.
Well, I must say, I commend you for that. And it's very impressive. I've looked over your events. I looked at the website. Very well done. And you have an array of artists. And you do get a couple of focal in. You get the Irish language in. I think it's called on Scum
Yeah,
on
we have
Block.
several.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
we have a couple of events next weekend. Actually, we have events all through the Irish language. One that I'm very much looking forward to is to go to a workshop myself with Seamus O'Flaherty. He's a Shannon singer from Connemara, a young guy. And then later on that afternoon, on the Sunday afternoon, we have a guy called Sexy Tig who's teaching people how to write stories and poems. So
Okay.
there's several events through Irish. We've a walking tour in Irish looking at the IFSC area, which is full of new buildings and very old Docklands buildings. And we have an architect who is talking through Irish and bringing us on an architectural journey of the area.
Fantastic. Well, I went to college in Dublin myself, at College of Marketing and Design, and it was kind of a ritual at the Garden of Remembrance. If it was somebody's birthday, they would be thrown into the pond that's there. It's only about 2 foot deep anyways. So I got my head washed there one time.
Very good.
Yeah, indeed. So let's chat more about the other events that you have on in terms of the art.
Okay, so we have a photographic exhibition. The photographer is Colin Pierce. So Colin Pierce is from the area and he lives in Vietnam now for the last 15, 16 years. But he has been taking photographs in this part of Dublin, Ballybock particularly, since the 1970s and 1980s. And we have an exhibition of his work in Charleville Mall Library. And that will be on for the duration of the festival and afterwards for a few weeks.
And there was one I was impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're one of your
another
artists for everybody. One of your artists said there. So explain that. One of your artists.
But what it is we try to have events in the area. So people aren't going to an art gallery, for example, where sometimes people might be a little bit intimidated. So we have, for example, we have an exhibition in Dublin Port. Many people here in this area have worked in the Dublin Port as dock workers, or they're our grandfathers worked in Dublin Port, and we're using a building down in the docks as a gallery, and the exhibition is all about the 80% of all of our goods that come through, 80% of what we use in Ireland comes through Dublin Port. Food, machinery, all kinds of things. And it's wonderful for the port to give us that space to
Excellent.
have an exhibition there. We have another exhibition in Jervis Street shopping centres. Any of your listeners who are Dubliners might know Jervis Street. It used to be a hospital. My granny actually died in it in 1979, so it was a hospital a long time ago. But now it's a shopping centre, and the Dublin Town Chief Executive Richard Guiney gave us this space, introduced us to the shopping centre and gave us this space for an art gallery. So people are passing there all the time and we'll entice them to come in and have a look at our Interrupted Collective is what it's called, an exhibition that will be held there.
Well, incidentally, there's a Five Lamps bar here in New York on the Upper East Side. And it's actually owned by two Dublin lads, David and Owen. And during lockdown, I needed a space because I run art events myself. So my artists were very happy that David and Owen provided us the outdoor space outside the Five Lambs. So as a result of that, I'm going to be sending you some art from my artists, Paul Rivers and Nancy Purnell. Her family donated a lot of art. So I have art to pass on to other charities because people were good to me. I like to be good to them. So I will be doing some stuff in the Five Lamps as well. They have a lot of memorabilia in the Five Lamps. They have pictures of Luke Kelly and then Grace, Roger Casement. And one of my favorites, of course, is Michael Collins. I did a podcast here on the Good Friday Agreement, which, as you know, was all about the Easter Rising. And the Good Friday Agreement took place in 1994. And Paddy McCarthy and myself have been advocating that the Good Friday Agreement will be implemented and that hopefully we will have a united Ireland in 2030, because we met Mary Lou here and got it from her words that everybody, all the parties, Sinn Féin is the largest party in Ireland, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil have to coalesce to share power to keep her out. But anyways, getting a little bit political there maybe, but we look forward to united Ireland through the ballot box. So I'm going to call on Jimmy Grady to sing a song for you, Róisín, and for my listeners.
Oh, my granny had a talent for the genealogy. For before there were computers, she could trace your family tree. You'd call in for a visit, and before you drink your tea, to everyone you know you'd be related. We are all related through marriage or through birth, which either is a blessing or a God Almighty curse. And you can trace the lineage for what it might be worth, but in Ireland, sure, we are all related. My name it is O'Reilly, I don't know. For my father he was Riley, but his father had a no. For one of them refused the soup, so they were forced to go. So to all the travelling Rileys I'm related. We are all related through marriage or through birth, which either is a blessing or a God Almighty curse. And you can trace the lineage for what it might be worth, but in Ireland, sure, we are all related. Hush your cousins on the radio, my granddad he would say, for we hope that you'll become a singing star like her someday. Now second, third, or twice removed doesn't matter anyway. To the famous Eleanor Shanley I'm related. We are all related through marriage or through birth, which either is a blessing or a God Almighty curse. And you can trace the lineage for what it might be worth, but in Ireland, sure, we are all related. Now your husband's second cousin is my second cousin too. But before ancestral thoughts arise, 'tis legal through and through. Now my brother's married to his sister's husband's sister, who, sure, like I'm trying to say, we're all related. We are all related through marriage or through birth, which either is a blessing or a God Almighty curse. and you can trace the lineage for what it might be worth. But in Ireland, sure, we are all related. And if you don't believe me, then try it out someday. Just pick a random stranger, a local or a stray. You'll find that you're related in some peculiar way. And don't forget me in your will, 'cause we're related. We are all related through marriage or through birth, which either is a blessing or a almighty curse. And you can trace the lineage for what it might be worth. But in Ireland, sure, we are all related.
I came across where someone had maps of Sean McDermott Street, Dorset Street, and very interesting the way it was done. I was very impressed with that. Can you expand on that, please?
Yeah. Yes. So we're in the north inner city, and this area gets a lot of bad press. And I worked here since 2000 as a teacher. I've since retired, but one of the things that really impressed me about the area is that there are so many wonderful places around here, and there are so
Lovely.
many historic places. You can see this is the first map that we did, the first walking tour map.
Yes.
And the walking tours are based in this area. So it was a way of animating the area. So I don't know if you can see any of our illustrations there from the walking
good.
tours.
Very
And
good.
we have walking tours of Sean McDermott Street, the Deep Sea Port, the North Wall, and various areas around this particular street furniture, the Five Lamps. And right behind me here, you can see a painting, which is turned into a poster of the Five Lamps. That's by Harry Walsh Foreman, that we exhibited his work a few years ago. And we're continuing to exhibit works from artists in the area.
Very good. Okay, well, I'm very, very impressed. I was really impressed with the maps because I had another lady on from Susie Duffy, is from Sligo, but she taught, I think, in Dublin and worked in RT. And she does nursery rhymes to teach people how to learn about the states of America. So when I saw your idea with the maps, I must remind Susie it would be a nice idea for her maybe to compose some nursery rhymes about Dorset Street and Sean McDermott Street. Well, Sean McDermott Street now is getting more famous. I think your superstar soccer player, Troy Parrott, is from Sean McDermott Street, if I'm correct in saying that.
Well, he's from Portland Row, which is round the corner from Sean McDermott Street. Also, Kelly Harrington is from the same place. We are full of wonderful citizens who've done well for the country. Troy Parrott, of course, is our number one.
Yes, of course.
Looking at the history of the area, we have a few films that we're showing on the 17th of April, and three of them are around Brendan Behan. One is based on a short story of Brendan Behan's, and one is based on a poem he wrote as a child. It's called The Laughing Boy.
Good.
You mentioned Michael Collins a short time ago. So Michael Collins was known as the Laughing Boy.
Okay.
And the poem that Brendan Behan wrote was taken up by a Greek composer, and he used the words of the poem and the music that he wrote, the Greek composer. And people in Greece who sing this song don't know that Brendan Behan wrote the words of the song.
Okay.
So that's really interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. And I didn't know that Michael Collins was known as the Laughing Boy. I know he had other.
Laughing Boy, exactly.
Good.
He had other things. I think it was because he was always smiling and making jokes.
Yes. Okay,
Another great film we have is a new film by director Joe Lee. And in the area, there's a man called Charlie O'Leary. And Charlie was the kit man for this Irish soccer team for many years, from the time of Mick McCarthy. Sorry, from the Jack Charlton's time.
Okay.
So Charlie O'Leary is from Johnny Cullen's Hill, which is in East Wall. The film is called The Charlie O'Leary Story, from Johnny Cullen's Hill to the Olympic Stadium, Rome. And he's now 102 and still hale and hearty. And hopefully we'll see him at the film on the 17th.
Well, you have a lot of jewels in the crown, to say the least. You have a lot of good quality.
Some things are sold out, which is great. We have a reading of a new play by Patrick O'Dea, and the actor is Phelim Drew, Ronnie Drew's son. So that's
Okay,
sold out. But then we
that's
have
good.
other things that we're trying to push, as
And Patrick
everybody
O'Dea,
is always trying to.
is Patrick O'Dea any relation to the original storyteller that was Jimmy O'Dea?
No,
No, different
no, he's
person. Okay,
not. No, no, no.
okay,
Different family altogether.
okay, but still talented nonetheless.
Patrick O'Dea was actually, he worked as a social worker in this area in the 1970s and 80s, and then he was a lecturer, but it's his life that Phelim Drew is
Of course.
drawing on. We have
Okay.
another wonderful play about things that happened in Ireland that were difficult, and that was, it actually happened in London, where Paddy Armstrong was incarcerated for 15 years in an English jail. And we have a fantastic play written by Mary Ellen Tynan about Paddy Armstrong. And the actor is Don Wycherley. Don is absolutely amazing. He's an amazing actor and he brings this story to life. Paddy is actually a neighbour of mine in Dublin. And he's not in great health, but he is delighted with the play about his life.
That's interesting.
We have other fantastic things for children. So we have an event called the Specs, about six musicians, all wearing spectacles, and they come from an island of glasses, and they play traditional music and they sing nursery rhymes. So it's traditional Irish music with nursery rhymes.
Okay, that's cool. Very good.
And then we have a lot of guided tours. So apart from the ones that we have the illustrated booklets for, such as the Dublin Port, we also have ones around the area looking at the Georgian history of the area, so which is really interesting. And then we have the Custom House, the OPW have opened it up and are doing guided tours for us for free. So that's really fantastic.
I'm sure you do the Ulysses. So Ulysses Walk or Ulysses Fest?
Yeah,
Ulysses.
we're doing a nighttime, nighttime tour. Daytime, but it's about nighttime, the episode in Ulysses. We have a fantastic film from South America called Drags. It's about drag queens, so that should be great fun. We also have Aideen McQueen. She's one of our foremost comedians. So she has Carl Spain and Stephanie L and Sophia Wren in her show in Annesley House. So Annesley House is a pub in the area, and they've given us a great room upstairs where we have some of our events.
And your festival was opened by the Lord Mayor of Dublin, I believe, correct?
Yeah, Ray McAdam. I actually met him this morning. He was launching events at Dublin Port, so I was at that event this morning. So Ray is a good friend of the festival because he happens to be a councillor in the Northeast Inner City, and so it was great to have the launch of the festival in the Mansion House.
Very good, excellent. All right. Well, I know you're a busy woman, Róisín. I thank you for your time, and I will be adding on more. I'll be adding on more from our Five Lamps here in New York on the Upper East Side to this podcast, so people will get a glimpse of. We wish we could be in Dublin for your festival, but we make the best of our festival at the Five Lamps on the Upper East Side with David and Owen, the two owners, and we'll maybe get some photographs put up here and have a chat with the boys too about the memorabilia.
Well, that'd be great because they must be from around the area to call it the Five Lamps.
Well, David is from
Lamps.
Yeah, the five. Oh, they have the same symbol in the inside the bar and outside the bar. David is from Rush, which is maybe a bit snobby. I'm not too sure. Rush is a seaside town with a population of 10,000 people. But David himself is not too snobby. He's down to earth. But the bar is covered with memorabilia. It's like a walking tour inside a pub, which is excellent to get the history and see the pictures of people like you named Luke Kelly, Brendan Grace, and the Dubliners, of course, and Roger Casement. I did a podcast recently about Roger Casement and a friend of his who was a teacher as well and wrote poetry. And I had a historian on from Sligo, Brian Layden, and Paul McAvey, who's the grandson of the friend of Roger Casement. So if anybody wants to look back on that podcast, they'll get the history of Roger Casement and his involvement with helping the Irish. Of course, as we know, De Valera wasn't executed because he had the American passport with him, because he was born here in New York on Lexington Avenue in Lenox Hill Hospital, and his mother was from Clare. We're not quite sure where his father was from. It's a bit of a delay in the history in that one. So, Róisín, anything else to add before I go to my Five Lamps here on the Upper East Side?
Okay, so we have lots and lots of events that will entice people. We have 2 jazz events. We have a
Okay.
group coming over from England,
Yeah.
Cow they're called. The drummer is in his 80s, his late 80s, and he's still going strong. The bass player is in his 50s,
Okay.
and the sax player is in his 30s. So they're, every age group in
Good.
Cow Trio, and they're playing in the Grand Social. We also
Okay.
have the Tolka Hot Club. They're another jazz outfit, and they're an absolutely amazing jazz group. And then we have a group of women who are putting together a rebel cabaret. So this is celebrating the women of 1916. They did it 10 years ago for the festival, and they're doing a wonderful show that includes some of the speeches by Constance Markovich and other famous women that worked through the 1916 Rising, but were never really written into history. And this is a way these poets and writers and songsters putting women back into history.
Well, Mary Robinson coined the phrase "Manon Ahearn" when she was elected president. Mayo woman herself, a neighbour of mine from Ballina, County Mayo. So it's important that we mention Manon Ahearn, of course. So before we wrap it up and before I go to my Five Lamps, anything else it should include? I'm glad
and
we're
the
having
the very last day, we have family day out at Mud Island Community Garden, and there we'll have African dancers. We have the oldest remaining trade union band, the CWU band. We have clowns. We have puppetry. And it's a great day out for families and particularly for children.
Fantastic.
But
well, I hope everybody.
if anyone is coming our way, please try and support us, come along, book tickets, get your friends to come along.
Yes, I'm going to put it up on this as well, the website. It's the Five Lamps Arts Festival.
That's it.
Róisín, I'm going to leave you for now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to head away and talk to David and Owen, hopefully, and go through some memorabilia that they have and anything they like to add to the podcast. So as I promised Róisín in Dublin, I wish I could be in Dublin for the Five Lamps Festival. But I'm here in my own Five Lamps in the Upper East Side, New York, one of my favourite local bars. And as I said earlier, they were very kind to me when I was needed a space to show art at site. This bar is like, you could meet people like Patrick Kavanagh talking to Luke Kelly. Patrick Kavanagh wrote the song for Luke Kelly on Raglan Road. I like Luke Kelly better than Patrick Kavanagh. Patrick Kavanagh, his girlfriend dumped him on Raglan Road. He couldn't sing. Luke Kelly had a voice. So Luke Kelly for me is my favourite. The bar itself is updated on the Upper East Side. They have good pint of Guinness, I would say, of course, and they have food. It's open 7 days a week. The bartenders are are from Dublin. The bar staff are from everywhere. The TVs from sports, including soccer, football, and GAA. There's a lot of memorabilia on the wall. As I said to Róisín, not to mention the train stations in Dublin are named after Connolly, Pearse, etc. Croke Park, Dublin, of course, famous. Great football teams down the year, challenging counties like Kerry and Mayo. And of course, lots of photographs of Michael Collins, James Joyce, Ulysses, Brendan Grace, and many more. This is my local. Thank you, Róisín. I wish you were here.